This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin will honor 4 seniors tomorrow night as they play their final home game of the season against Maryland. Most of them will be guys that have been here for just a year, like Nick Boyd and Andrew Rohde. It's the same for Braden Carrington. He started his career as a big-time recruit at Minnesota. Didn't work out there. He went to Tulsa last year before coming to Madison last summer. He's really hit his groove late, including hitting a school record 9 3-pointers against Washington on Saturday. So what has this 1 year meant to him?
I mean, it means a lot. This is, I'd say, by far my best year of college basketball. I think I've had the most fun, too. I've had a lot of experiences. I've grown a lot as a player and as a person here. And it's just a credit to the people I'm surrounded with, you know, from the coaching staff to teammates to even just the fans. You know, they're giving me an environment that I've been able to thrive in and be my best self.
Wisconsin sitting at 12-5 in Big Ten play, very likely going to be the number 6 seed in the Big Ten tournament next week. NCAA tournament projections have them anywhere between a 6 seed and an 8 seed. Again, it'll be Wisconsin and Maryland tomorrow night. They'll finish the regular season on Saturday at Purdue. Turning to the Bucks, they are off today. They'll look to snap a 3-game losing streak tomorrow when they host Atlanta at Fiserv Forum.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up. And support starts with all of us. At home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, the Brewers and the rest of the majors getting some action in against teams that are going to be taking part in the World Baseball Classic. Milwaukee faced Team Great Britain today, while Bryce Terang was in the starting lineup for Team USA against the Giants. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
The Celtics are a try-hard team this year, right? You know, no Tatum. Jaylen Brown has been fantastic. But, you know, they traded everybody away, right? And the credit to Joe Mazzulla and those guys. But, I mean, and credit to Sam Hauser, Wisconsin's own, right? And these guys. But Hugo Gonzalez should not be jumping over Giannis Antetokounmpo for a tip dunk.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And so... And Gonzalez also went around Miles Turner and that's the thing, but like, that's who the Celtics are. The Bucks have played them twice already. It's like the scouting report is what it is against the Celtics, and the Bucks just either didn't pay attention to it, didn't care about it, didn't realize maybe just how fast all those guys were going to be. Whatever the reason, it's inexcusable.
We were playing great, and we've kind of lost our way. And I think it's on both ends. I think offensively, we had a great rhythm, and we've done it in spurts in the last 3 games, but we haven't been able to sustain.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
I want to start with the Bucks tonight. That's some sound from Jim Ozarski on Bill's show earlier. I thought it was just a really good summation of what happened last night and what's been going on in large stretches for the entire season, but really these last 3 losses. You heard Zach mention this 3-game losing streak in his update. So that first soundbite you heard was Jim Ozarski. Then you heard Doc Rivers. I don't even remember what he said. I just needed 10 seconds worth of him yapping to fill out the show intro. So everything fits nicely. It's the Wisco Sports Show. My name is Grant Bills. If you're not a huge Bucks person, you're like, Grant, why are we wasting our time? Well, I don't think we're ever wasting our time if there's something that I'm leading the show with. I always think there's a good reason. I think the Bucks need to wear it a little bit right now. I think they deserve some criticism. And we have plenty of listeners who might want to jump in and say a couple words about the Bucks, so we will begin with that tonight. But a really good Packers story written by Tom Silverstein that's out at the Journal-Sentinel. A lot of the same things we were kind of picking at last night with the departure of Rich Bisaccia, and what is this signaling about the organization, maybe on a deeper level? I'm speculating, and it's informed a little bit, or like I got a vibe at the combine talking to people. I'm not completely throwing caution to the wind, but obviously I'm in a radio studio. I'm speculating. Tom's covered the team for decades. So when he writes a story like that, you know, it's a little sturdier. Like we can take those words. So I want to react to that story. And I also want to talk Brewers tonight. That Bob Nightingale story. We also learned earlier today about the condition of both Quinn Priester and Brandon Woodruff. Might look like both of them will be injured to begin the year, which we can talk about. I'm not going to sound the alarm on that or anything, but I think it's instructive to look at those injuries and then consider what that means for the rest of the pitching staff and the way that the Brewers might operate or have been operating this offseason and the way they will continue to operate as we get into the year. I'll take your phone calls and your texts tonight throughout 608-321-1670. You can comment on the live stream, the Wisco Sports Zone app, the best way to watch and listen to all of our shows and all the podcasts, including the ones that aren't on the radio. Zach and Jesse have just been dumping out incredible content on the camp and on the swing with some player interviews. They're staying locked in with football, but also now giving you some more basketball as the Big Ten tournament approaches and we get closer to March Madness. So the Wisco Sports Zone app, the place to watch and listen to all of our shows. It's also on YouTube. It's on my Twitter, @WiscoGrant. Any other place that you might follow me or follow the show, you can watch and listen to the show there. So just an update on the Bucks as we parachute in. We don't talk about them every night, maybe 1, 2, 3 mentions a week, typically shorter segments, maybe at the end of the first hour. Just, hey, Giannis is coming back tonight. Here's what we think about that. And then we're normally back to our regularly scheduled programming of Packers conversation or Brewers or, whatever's going on, Badgers basketball. So as we parachute into the Bucks here, just a reminder, going into Friday, going into this past weekend, they had won 8 of 10. They were playing good basketball. Now, not all of those wins were against outstanding opponents, although I don't think the Bucks are in a position this year where we can nitpick opponents and quality of wins. Like we're going to turn up our nose. We're going to look a gift horse in the mouth with this Bucks team. I don't think that's fair, but just for the sake of complete and total context, some of those wins were against the Pelicans in overtime, the Pacers, who just suck this season, which I think is ridiculous. I don't think they should be nearly that bad, but this isn't a Pacers show. They beat the Magic. They beat the Thunder, who were without most of their studs. They beat the Pelicans again. They beat Cleveland, who were without, 3 of their top 4 players. So you can look at that 8 of 10, that stretch holes in it if you want. But again, with this Bucks team, especially without Giannis, and Giannis didn't return until last night, you look at that stretch and say, okay, it's something. They had won 8 of 10. They come into this weekend with 2 home games. I say weekend loosely because we're talking about a Friday to a Monday, but they come into this weekend winners of 8 of 10, a home game against the Knicks, a road game against the Bulls, but that's not a long trip, and then another home game on Monday against the Celtics. And if we believe what Doc Rivers said yesterday, and I do, that Giannis has been chomping at the bit and pissed for a week now because he's ready to come back. He wants to come back. Giannis has been close, right? Giannis is right. He's right there. He's on the precipice of coming back. So consider those circumstances coming into this weekend. And again, Friday to Monday, 3 games in 4 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Winners of 8 of 10. You're as close as you've been in a while to the playoff picture, which is the goal for this team right now. And Giannis is about to come back. He's right there. You've won 8 of 10. You got 2 of 3 games at home, and Giannis could come back at any moment. If there was ever a time to play basketball, to lock in, to play both ends of the floor, which I know sometimes for NBA teams is difficult. Like, yeah, you might have to try tonight, guys. If there was ever a time to try and to lock in and to play belief-filled basketball, it would have been this weekend. It would have been these 3 games in the last 4 days, 2 of them at home, and Giannis is coming back, and you've been playing good. You've been stacking success. And in the last 3 games, they have lost all 3 by margins of 29, 23, and 27. And last night, probably the most egregious of all because Giannis was back last night. If there was ever a time, if there was ever a stretch of games for this Bucks team to say, come on, guys, we got it. Now's the time. Here we go. It would have been this weekend. And they no-showed, no-called as badly as you can no-show and no-call. They lost all 3 of these games, 29, 23, and 27. And I just don't know how I'm supposed to excuse that. I don't know how I'm supposed to look at that and say, well, Doc's a bozo. What do you want? I don't know how I'm supposed to look at that and say, well, Giannis wasn't back against the Knicks or the Bulls. Or last night, well, Giannis is just coming back. What do you want? They got to learn how to play together again. And Giannis has got to get ramped up or whatever. It's a little pathetic. It's not a little pathetic. It's a lot pathetic. Even by the NBA standards where, look, it's like hockey too. Not every night is going to be game 7 of the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup Finals. I get it. These guys are human. But on the tail end of an 8 of 10 stretch, you'd won 8 of 10. Giannis is coming back. You got 2 out of your next 3 at home, and you're pushing for the playoffs. And you crap the bed 3 straight games. If they would have won against the Knicks on Friday night, won against the Celtics last night, and maybe no showed on Sunday against the Bulls in Chicago, fine. Because again, it's the NBA. I get it. I'm not asking for you to lock in and try hard every night. That would be ridiculous. But 2 of the 3, hell, even 1 of the 3, I'd take that at this point. It's pretty pathetic. And that's why I played that comment from Jim Ozarski at the beginning of the show. He outlined it. He was on at 1 o'clock, so to begin the 4th hour of Bill's show. I just posted the podcast about a half hour before the show started, so a little late. Apologies, but it's up now. Go listen to that interview because Jim laid it out really well. But the soundbite I played, and here, I'll play it one more time just because I think it's really good. Jim said, this is not the first time they've played the Celtics. The Bucks know they have the scouting report. They have the experience of how the Celtics played, and they still were caught flat-footed. So that means they aren't paying attention. They're not watching film. They're not reading the scouting reports, or they just don't care. Either is excusable. I'm not sure which one's worse. Here's that 60-second soundbite from Jim Ozarski, Journal Sentinel, one more time.
The Celtics are a try-hard team this year, right? You know, no Tatum. Jaylen Brown has been fantastic. But
I'll jump in. I don't, that's not Jim criticizing. Well, you know, they're try-hards. No, they're a team that's had to bow up a little bit and not only rely on star power because they traded away Drew Holiday. They traded away Porzingis. They stripped it down. They took a little bit of a step back. Jason Tatum's been missing time. Jaylen Brown's been great, but he wasn't out there. You're playing Hugo Gonzalez and Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, and you let this team work you. So when Jim says the Celtics are a try-hard team, I just want to jump in and clarify on Jim's behalf. And I don't think you're misunderstanding Jim, but just in case, that's complimentary. Try-hard, complimentary.
The Celtics are a try-hard team this year, right? You know, no Tatum. Jaylen Brown has been fantastic. But, you know, they traded everybody away, right? And the credit to Joe Mazzulla and those guys. But, I mean, and credit to Sam Hauser, Wisconsin's own, right? And these guys. But Hugo Gonzalez should not be jumping over Giannis Antetokounmpo for a tip dunk.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And so... And Gonzalez also went around Miles Turner and that's the thing, but like, that's who the Celtics are. The Bucks have played them twice already. It like the scouting report is what it is against the Celtics, and the Bucks just either didn't pay attention to it, didn't care about it, didn't realize maybe just how fast all those guys were going to be. Whatever the reason, it's inexcusable.
Outstanding commentary. Again, go listen to that full interview with Jim Ozarski, beginning of hour number 4 today. So at 1 o'clock on Bill's show. I have a hard time blaming this all on Doc. I won't blame it all on Doc because I don't think it's reasonable. I don't think it's fair. I understand that a lot of Bucks fans and just Wisconsin sports fans in general say, well, they need to fire Doc. He's the problem. Look, I'm not here to tell you Doc is the solution. But I think that the problem of this team goes a lot deeper than Doc. I think there's an effort issue night to night. There's certainly roster issues, like the way that this roster has decayed from what it was 3 or 4 years ago. The roster is far from perfect. But if we can just talk about the basketball out of it all and the Doc Rivers of it all just for a couple of minutes, like, I don't really understand what they're doing. I don't understand on the night that Giannis comes back, you move Ryan Rollins to the bench. Ryan Rollins should be, in theory, if you're a bigger Bucks fan and a closer follower than me, you could tell me that I'm wrong. I could be wrong on this, but shouldn't Ryan Rollins be one of your biggest selling points going into this offseason to retain Giannis? If I was in charge, and again, I have not been on it with this team probably as closely as some of you have. So call me out on the phones if I'm wrong, but if I was putting together a pitch to keep Giannis, one of the bullet points, it would be near the start of the presentation is, this Ryan Rollins kid is good. He's a young, ascending player. He's a player that you can grow with. He's going to be here. This is a player that we identified and that we're developing. He'd be at near the top of my list, and you relegate him to the bench on the night that Giannis comes back. I don't understand that. I don't understand how Miles Turner only plays 19 minutes. A big part of the calculus of keeping Giannis moving forward would be, we brought Miles Turner here to play with you. Now, this year hasn't been a massive success because, well, Giannis, you've missed some time. But as we move forward, we have reason to think that fit's going to be great. For all the reasons you were excited about Miles Turner coming here, we remain excited about Miles Turner being here. And you play him 19 minutes last night. Season low in minutes. You only play AJ Green 18 minutes because you feel the need to give Gary Harris a bunch of run. I don't need to see Gary Harris at all. Kyle Kuzma, who is far from a superstar, didn't even play. I guess I don't understand. I don't understand. I've said over and over about this Bucks team, and it'll continue to be my line, that they're just wasting everybody's time. That's what they're doing. That's the only thing they're accomplishing this year is they're wasting everybody's time. The Bucks are not a championship contender with this roster, and they're certainly not a championship contender with Giannis being injured as often as he's been injured this year. Duh. But in the midst of a rebuild or reset type of season, you should be able to carve out something. If you're a good organization with a coaching staff that has a clue, you should be able to carve out something. Okay, even when Giannis is injured and even when we're kind of betwixt and between from certain spots of this roster, we want to have core principles that we adhere to. Night to night, you don't know what you're getting with this team. I don't know what's important to them. I don't know what's being coached. I don't know what's being taught or valued. I see it with the Celtics. And I don't think Joe Mazzulla is some superstar coach, but it's clear he has a program. He has principles. He has a culture that he's set that no matter if Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown is playing, no matter who's starting on any given night, we're going to stick to these principles. And we've seen that by and large with the Celtics. I don't see anything night to night with the Bucks. I don't see anything. It's like one night Kyle Kuzma will play. The next night, no. Ryan Rollins, who should be a big selling point for our team moving forward. He's not even going to start now that Giannis is back. I don't get it. What's being accomplished here? We're just wasting. We're wasting everybody's time. Most of all, the fans. Can you imagine? The Bucks had won 8 of 10. And they have 2 of 3. They have 2 games in 4 days at home. Giannis is coming back. I am not a Bucks season ticket holder. I haven't gone to a game yet this year. I would imagine that for those of you who go to games or you're on their ticket list, you're on their mailing list, if the Bucks are doing their job, and I bet their ticket people are, they were hitting the emails and the phone lines hard last week saying, here we go. They've won 8 of 10. Look at how well they're playing. We got 2 games at Fiserv Forum coming up this weekend. Giannis is coming back. Let's get to Fiserv Forum. People bought tickets, and they bought tickets to see them no-show against the Knicks. They lost by 29 on Friday. And then in Giannis's return last night, they no-show and lose by 27. The biggest losers this season of everyone's who's having their time wasted, the fans are at the top of the list. Why would you buy tickets to go see this? What am I accomplishing watching this team night to night? It's pathetic. And it's frustrating because I understand their roster is in between a rock and a hard place. Maybe they trade Giannis this offseason. We'll see. We'll see if he decides to really actually, stand up in the meeting room and pound the table and clearly say, I don't want to be here. Let's work on a trade. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'd like to see that my basketball coach and my basketball organization has a clue about what they're trying to build or what they're trying to do. And they got nothing. So that's my piece on the Bucks today. I think they deserve to wear it a bit. They absolutely deserve some criticism. So I will oblige the first segment of the show on the Milwaukee Bucks. If you have thoughts on this, I'll take your calls next. We'll get into the Packers at 4:35. So the next segment will be you Bucks fans if you have something to say. 608-321-1670. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Like, well, what is Miles Turner doing here?
Is there a team in professional sports doing a better job wasting everybody's time than the Bucs?
No, I can't think
and
of.
Doc is the coach.
Like,
they're
dude,
not even developing
They're
anyone.
spending through the nose on the coach. They're spending through the nose on the roster. They epically suck. The superstar obviously doesn't want to be here. He's booing you people. So it's like how much more do you need to see? What are you looking to salvage? And they should have been, if they were smart, they just should have bit the bullet, taken the hit publicly that I'm sure they would have gotten, and traded him earlier than later. And I love what he did. I never thought the Bucs would win a championship. Again, in my life, I was 1 year old when they won in 1970, so it doesn't really count. I never thought they'd win in my practical lifetime. So great. I love the guy, but it was pretty clear by, I don't know, the second year after the championship, they weren't winning again. It was clear the second Damian Lillard got here, that wasn't working.
A throwback to one of our conversations at the Super Bowl. That was Mike Felga. I just, there's not a team in professional sports doing it right like the Milwaukee Bucks right now. Just wasting everybody's time. And the Bucks are, what's their record? Apologies for not knowing. They're 26-34. There's a world in which they're 26-34, and I feel differently about this team. There's a world in which they're, 8 games under 500, but I watch on a night-to-night basis, and I notice things. I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing here. They're bringing along Ryan Rollins or this Frenchman, Ousmane Dieng. But night-to-night, I don't know what I'm getting. Now Kuzma's not going to play, and we're going to give Gary Harris some run. And we've won 8 of 10, and now Giannis is coming back, and we got 3 games or 3 games in 4 days, 2 of them at home. Let's go. And then the team no-shows. They lose 3 straight games by 29, 23, and 27 points, respectively, the third of which was Giannis's homecoming. I don't know. I wasn't at Fiserv last night. I would imagine it was a pretty good environment, and they fall that flat against a team without Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Come on. So, Bucs fans, if you want to jump in, we'll do this for about 10 more minutes here, and then I want to get to the Packers. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Tony from Texas.
Tony.
I don't think we've spoken since Ash Wednesday, so happy Lent.
I hope your Lent is going well, Tony.
It's been up and down, but we're hanging in there.
Well, that's Lent, my friend. There's struggles, there's low points, there's high points. Isn't that the whole idea?
Yeah. Do you think it's peacocking around if I have that ash on me all day?
Not necessarily. If it happens, it happens. I do think there are. Well, I don't know. I don't want to speak on people and their religious practices. I'm a Catholic. I didn't get to Ash Wednesday Mass because my schedule wouldn't allow. But I do wonder if people on cable television news where it's like, did you went through makeup? You know what I mean? That thing is that's loud and proud. So I might look sideways, but I'm not going to judge anybody with ashes.
Yeah, there you go. No. Okay. Hey, top of your head, can you name 4 Charlotte Hornets?
No, I mean, honestly, not really. I know Khan's there. I think Miles Bridges is still there. LaMelo Ball.
Is that where it stops?
Probably, if you gave me 10 minutes, but I don't want to put our listeners through that, Tony.
Yeah, well, you get my point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Charlotte Hornets, the leadership they got, right?
Mm-hmm. The culture.
Charles Lee with the players, the culture, and you bring in a guy like Con Knippel, and I know a couple of years ago I was kind of begging on the Badgers to recruit this guy, but they never did, and for a good reason. I mean, the guy went to Duke. He's he did set the record for most NBA 3-pointers by a rookie. So my point is, Grant, Giannis, is he really a good culture guy? Is he really the guy that's, going to help everyone get to where they need to go? Or is it just about Giannis and his brothers at this point?
Well, maybe that's part of it.
For the ride.
I think Giannis deserves a little criticism. My criticism starts with his game, not necessarily with his culture. And Tony, you're a highly successful AAU coach. Watching Giannis last night, it's like, he slides back into the game, and it's like, all right, now Giannis has the ball, and he's going to do his put his head down thing and drive. And the rest of the team is just going to stand and watch. Like, it didn't look like Giannis rejoined a basketball team that has been developing and preparing for his return. It looks like, all right, I'm back. Give me the ball. Let me go get mine. That's what it looked like. And it's difficult to build around that. He is a not a limited skill set. He has a unique skill set that makes basketball existence difficult, I think, for some teammates and some systems that teams might try to run. Not that Doc has one, but just for the purposes of bigger picture basketball conversations.
Yeah, no, I think you make some valid points, and that's why some players. I think actually that's why Giannis hasn't been traded. I mean, these teams are not going to give up the farm for Giannis when the Bucks are asking for 5 or 6 first-round draft picks, and this guy's always injured. I was criticized on the Bart Winkler show years back, I think by one of your listeners, Q from Milwaukee. I accused Giannis of having low IQ as a basketball player and not as a human, but he just never developed that overall sense of how to play the game. Jason Kidd tried to make him into a point guard, and the guy's got unique talent and ability, but that part of the game, just understanding how to play situational basketball, and actually the emotional intelligence also, Grant, that's overlooked too.
Sure.
We all love like the rah and the energy and the flexing and all that stuff. Time and place, my man. You got to have that emotional energy, emotional intelligence. I go back to that year when he body slammed Mike Dunleavy. I don't think Giannis ever grew out of that, man. Guy's going to WWE wrestling. No wonder why he had a terrible night the other night.
Ooh, so that's interesting. Again, I think Giannis should wear some criticism. I think it should start with his game. And I think his vision and his passing have improved quite a bit. And I think his mid-range jumper has improved. I don't think his passing and his vision uplifts others around him the same way that maybe Jokic's passing and vision does. He can set up a shooter on the perimeter. He can do that. I don't know if Giannis's vision and passing lends to a larger offense that exists and that operates around him. And I'm not going to act like I'm a basketball coach and I'm an expert on this stuff, but it does seem like a lot of his passing and vision is drive and kick. Give me the ball. I'm going to drive, draw a double team, and kick. And that's nice. That works. But there's a limit on that, I think, Tony, right? As a coach, you would maybe agree.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, you're on it. Ball. I'm actually excited for March Madness too, Grant. I'm going to leave you on that. I got the AAU season kicking. You got you were at the combine, the NFL combine, Grant. I got these new moms. I had my own combine, a lot of strength, agility, flexibility drills. So it's going, man. I love March. March is the best, Grant. March Madness. Here we go. AAU season starting up. The high school playoffs are ending. I love it. So high school basketball is my favorite with college. I love it.
Oh, it's great. Before you run, Tony, I do have one comment on the live stream. Folks are wondering if you've given up single moms for Lent. It doesn't sound like it, though.
No, we haven't. No, absolutely not.
What have you given up for Lent?
Strip bars.
Okay, all right. Well, you got to start.
How about that?
Have a good one, Tony. You got to start somewhere.
See you later.
Appreciate the call. We haven't heard from Tony in Texas in a while. Highly successful NBA coach. I think Giannis deserves some criticism here. I think he's far from the guiltiest party involved with the downfall of the 2025-26 Bucks. But he's in there. He's on the list. I think his skill set is difficult to build around. Not impossible, but difficult. And I think winning at the highest level with Giannis demands that he is the version of himself that we saw in 2021 and in 2022 against the Celtics. He was unbelievable in that series without Chris Middleton. That series went 7. He kind of needs to be that dominant and that good because the gravity that he has, and I mean gravity, not in the sense of drawing defenders, but the gravity he has of give me the ball, I'm going to do it. Like he needs to be dominant because that gravity limits the effectiveness or limits the fluidity and the play of those around him and the offense around him writ large. We saw it last night. Like I did not last night watch Giannis and think, oh, well, now that Giannis is back, look at how much better off this player is. Look at how much better positioned this player is. I thought, okay, so it's the same crappy Bucks we've been watching, but now Giannis also is just going to be out there doing Giannis things. It felt very separate and very disjointed. And part of that is a play style. Part of that is a culture, and it's an NBA culture too, where it's like, I'm the number one guy, so I'm going to get 25 points, even if it takes me 25 shots. You know, like that thing exists too. And I don't necessarily hold that personally against Giannis as much as I would hold it against any NBA superstar because they're all the same. Giannis wasn't always that way. I think he's infected is a strong word. I think he's defected in his time of being a superstar, winning MVPs, winning a title. I think he's become more like his domestic superstar counterparts, which I think have some lesser traits, which Tony, you were responsible for in that AAU circuit of yours. 608-321-1670 Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Oh, don't even get me started on the AAU circuit, ruining youth sports. Too expensive.
Cone roller.
Parents
Tony
out
in,
every weekend.
Tony in Texas is he is guilty here. He's leading the charge. Cone roller. It's him. I put it on him.
Yeah, you know, but he's a homegrown story. I saw a great article written about him in some Dallas paper. You know,
really
started at the YMCA and just kind of started from the ground up. A lot. Adidas, Nike, Jordan, Kendrick Perkins. It's crazy.
Well, Tony, I mean, if you go all the way back to the beginning of his story, started probably in some school gymnasium at St. Rita's in West Dallas, but God knows. One day that'll be in the documentary. We don't have time for that today, fortunately, Cone Roller.
Oh, that would be a great mini series.
I'd watch that.
Who would play Tony in Texas?
Oh, God. I'll think about that over the commercial break. If someone comes to mind, let me know. Oh,
yeah,
God.
I don't have anybody in mind. Yes or no, buy or sell, fair or foul, Giannis is a Buck to open next season.
Maybe I'm a schmuck for thinking, I think so. Because I think the Bucks are going to try like hell to keep him. And Giannis, I would expect to be the same guy he's been, which is, I don't know. I want to win. I want to, okay, but I'm not going to go all the way, and I guess I'll stay. Like that's what I would bet on. I wouldn't put my mortgage on it, but if I had to pick an outcome, it's that all parties involved continue to do the things they.
And then it's just all the same next year. Doc still here. Or
I don't know about Doc.
Haslam.
How could you bring back Doc, man? Like he's had a dozen games this year where in the past, like Jason Kidd used to have these games, and I'll shout out Bart Winkler again. He mentioned this. I watched his post game last night. It was a good point. Jason Kidd at the end the Bucks would have these miserable losses and would leave us thinking, oh, is this the night he's going to get canned? Doc's had like a dozen of those types of games. He's still here. He seems like he's kind of checked out to me. I don't know how you run it back with Doc next year. I don't understand how they could do that.
I don't either. And at that point, just clean house. Horst goes, Giannis goes. You bring in a new face to rebuild, this team, and maybe that team gets rebuilt in Seattle. Who knows?
Maybe they end up moving. Hey, what about Tom Holland? Do you think he could play a Tony in Texas?
Ooh, Tom Holland might be a little young in the face, but
well, I mean, is it modern day Tony in Texas, or is it his formative years? A little young.
Maybe we need to find like 3 different actors, kind of like they do in like This Is Us. If you ever watched that show?
Yeah. Yep. Tom Holland, Neil Patrick Harris looks a little, but not close enough. Tom Holland is my answer. Although I'm going to do research over this commercial break to find somebody better. I think.
Yeah, I love it, and happy Lent to Tony. I'm glad he's not giving up single moms. That was crazy.
I mean, you can't lose your complete and total identity in Lent. I'm glad we agree on that. Thanks, Cone.
Right. Have a good one, Grant.
That's Cone Roller. All right. We've fulfilled our quota of Bucks talk. Ooh, McConaughey. Someone's tweeting in McConaughey. He'd have to shorten his hair. I could see it. But McConaughey looks similar-ish. He looks like an older Tom Holland. All right. Tony in Texas biography. That would be the day. His calls would be even more insufferable than they are now, which I don't actually even understand how that would be possible. I want to talk Packers. Tom Silverstein has a banger of a column out at the Journal Sentinel today. I want to break it down next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Again, losing him is tough just because of what he brought to our football team. But I think there were just other opportunities that he wanted to pursue. He's coached a long time in the National Football League. And as you know, it can be a grind. And I think he had some other opportunities that he was looking at. Really good coach. And wherever he ends up, that place is going to be better for it.
Brian Gutekunst on the departure of Rich Bisaccia. I want to give you some musings from Tom Silverstein, Journal Sentinel, Spoon, as he's known, about Rich Bisaccia's departure. Kind of building off the lead of the show last night, which is, what does this tell us about what's going on behind the scenes? Before we do that, I have to scratch this itch, and this might be niche for some of you. So apologies, bear with me for just a sec. So in the previous segment, if you've just joined us, we got a call from Tony in Texas. We got a call from Cone Roller. Tony always points out the fact that he is a highly successful AAU coach. I like saying it as a joke, and I think Tony says it slightly tongue-in-cheek, but also Tony, I mean, he is a successful AAU coach, if you look up Tony, but also Tony, I think Tony also says it seriously. So he was profiled in this Dallas magazine. I saw Cone Roller tweet the link, and we were joking about, Tony, last thing his ego needs is a documentary, but if he was in a documentary, who would play him? So I'll throw a picture of Tony on the live stream if you're watching. That's what Tony looks like. That's Tony in Texas. And we were trying to figure out who would play him in a documentary. RJ came in here over the break. RJ Cardinal, you hear him on Over the Line in the morning. He said, what does Tony look like? And I showed him the picture. He said, oh, it's Tim McGraw on The Blind Side. And then I started looking at pictures from Tim McGraw on The Blind Side. I'm like, oh my God, the hair. And oh my God, it's Tim McGraw. Which, by the way, really underrated actor. I've brought this up on the show before. Tim McGraw does not get his flowers for his acting chops. He's been in some very powerful motion pictures and television shows. This is one of the few things that Bill and I will beef about. Playfully, but if it ever push ever comes to shove, I will stand on business with this. Bill met Tim McGraw in the 90s because he worked in country radio, and he was a drunken mess and he was a giant dick. So anytime Tim McGraw comes up, which is surprisingly often because I love Tim McGraw. So anytime it comes, his songs come on or he come out, I will say, oh God, I love Tim McGraw. And Bill will go, he's such a dick. I met him once. And I have to do what Daryl did in The Office when Michael Vick came up. When Daryl's like, hey, Vic did his time. Remember that? Like I always said, hey, Tim beat his demons. He beat his alcoholism. And now he's very physically fit. You could tell that's how he copes. A little too physically fit. The clothes, I get tight clothes. I'm a Kenny Chesney fan. Tim McGraw wears clothes that looks like they're painted on, which I love Tim McGraw. I support his choices. He beat his demons. But loosen the shirt. I mean, good Lord. But I think it's Tim McGraw. I think RJ was right about that. Can I read from you a little bit of Tom Silverstein? Now, if you're watching on the live stream, I have to read this on my phone. I re-upped my Journal Sentinel subscription because I'd let it go. I'm sorry. I can't pay for everything. And I re-upped it because now I wanted to read Kurt's stuff now that baseball season has started. Not that I don't like reading it in the offseason, but again, I'm not made of money here. So I re-upped it, and for whatever reason, my subscription isn't registering on my laptop, but it is registering on my phone. So that's why I'm looking at my phone here in this segment. I feel like someone giving a best man speech, which I have beef with the phone notes app speech. Can be a segment for a different time. But this is Tom Silverstein. The reason I read this is because he's actually saying a lot of the same things that we said yesterday, but Tom's got some juice, man. He's got some squeeze. And I heard some things at the combine, but I'm not in that locker room. I'm not in that clubhouse. It's a question LaFleur can't afford to gloss over before the players return for offseason workouts in April. This is a huge year for the Packers, given the talent they have, and going 1-4 in the playoffs since 2020 isn't taking incremental steps toward winning a Super Bowl. Entering his 8th season, LaFleur can't brush anything under the table if he's going to prove president and CEO Ed Policy right for signing him to a contract extension in January. That includes player grades. As one league source stated, grades don't necessarily reflect how the entire locker room feels because players who are disgruntled may be more motivated to fill out the survey than others. In addition, the Packers were wildly inconsistent most of the year, and the way in which they lost 2 games to the Chicago Bears isn't going to make anyone feel better about the future. Tom continues. But it is a red flag that LaFleur's favorability rating dropped from an A- in 2024 to a B- in 2025. And for those of you who are unaware, and why would you be aware? Because that their coaches don't get C's and D's and F's. They get A's or B's. So B- is near the bottom. The survey was taken between November 2nd and December 11th, according to reports, so the team had not yet gone through its epic collapse at the end of the season. There's likely more to it than just a bad feeling about the way things finished. Multiple players talked after the season about how the Packers weren't capable of finishing games, which is both a slight on themselves and the coaches. The fact the Packers couldn't counter the furious comebacks the Bears made in both victories, including a season-ending playoff loss, may have caused players to lose faith in LaFleur. And what Tom is saying is it might even be worse now than it was when the survey was conducted, because, again, that was conducted in late November, early December. Conversely, defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley received an A-, and special teams coordinator Rich Bisaccia is a B+. It was the first year that the NFLPA asked to grade coordinators, and both did better LaFleur, which is something to think about. Now, this is the juicy part. I mean, it's all good, but this builds on what we were talking about yesterday. There was considerable buzz at the NFL scouting combine last week that Bisaccia's departure was related to some disagreements with LaFleur, but a source close to longtime coordinator said Bisaccia told him his decision was made so he could be closer to his family home in Florida. It was curious that Bisaccia's departure was announced a day after Las Vegas filled the last open position with the hiring of Rich DeCamillis. No relation to the knife company. I added that. That wasn't necessary. And led to some special teams coaches speculating he was trying to stick it to LaFleur by waiting so long to make his decision. Okay, hold on. We speculate. You speculate. Because you call in and you call and text and comment on Bill's show and say, why'd Bisaccia wait so long to leave? Is he trying to stick it to LaFleur? Is he trying to leave LaFleur high and dry? And that's fine sports talk radio fodder. I think it's a little ridiculous. I don't think people operate that maliciously. I think in the sports talk radio world, we love to make up these stories and to think about storylines and to think about motives when mostly in sports, people are going to do what they think is easier. People are going to do what they think will make them more money. Never ascribe to malice what can be chalked up to laziness or the human nature. That was Socrates. Just kidding. I don't know who said the malice thing, but I'll just say these people aren't evil geniuses, probably. They're probably just doing what's easier or makes them most money or both. So when Rich Bisaccia left, like, oh, okay, he probably doesn't want to be so damn busy anymore. He probably doesn't want to be so responsible for so many things. He probably wants to be somewhere warmer near his family. The fact that Tom wrote this in, Tom Silverstein, that's different with all due than Tim and Sparta calling in and being like, hey, is Rich Bisaccia trying to F LaFleur? Let me read this part to you one more time. It was curious that Bisaccia's departure was announced a day after Las Vegas filled the last open position with the hiring of Rich DeCamillis, and it has led to some special teams coaches speculating he was trying to stick it to LaFleur by waiting so long to make his decision. To me, in my opinion, and I'm far from Mr. Journalist, but been doing this job a while. I read a lot of stories. I follow, like, I'm in the mix. I'm paying attention to the stuff. To me, Tom does not include that in the story unless he has reason to believe that that's at least somewhat partially, possibly, probably true. That's not something that Tom Silverstein, of all people, just throws out there. He's not throwing out there, well, some are speculating he was trying to stick it to LaFleur, unless he has reason to believe that he might have been sticking it to LaFleur, which to me is insane. Because again, people don't operate like that. They do what's easier or what makes them more money. But another source vehemently denied Bisaccia waiting for any other reason than a desire to be closer to his family year-round. Now, that reasoning doesn't get at the timing. What, did the Bisaccia family just buy a home in South Carolina? And he's like, well, I thought I was me in Green Bay, but they just closed on the house yesterday. Now I have to move. Like, that doesn't address the timing. That addresses the motive, but not the timing. Bisaccia returned to the Packers offices from time off at his Florida home after the season, a source said, and he was working as normal when he concluded that he wouldn't give the commitment necessary to continue as an NFL special teams coordinator. A report March 2nd that Bisaccia was expected to become Clemson's special teams coordinator validates that he was up for something different and wanted to be closer to home. Bisaccia left about $2 million on the table, which is what he would have earned this season had he stuck around. He won't get that much at Clemson, but he won't have the same hours either. I also want to point out, people don't just leave $2 million on the table. Like, even to be closer to their families, even if they live in Green Bay where it's cold, like $2 million is a lot of money. And I know it's so easy for us. Well, I don't know how much money you make, but it's so easy for people like me who don't make $2 million a year. Like for those of you who are in this club, I'm sure you can, the 2 million and less club, I'm sure you can agree. It's easy for us to say, well, 1 million, 2 million, 800,000, 1.5 million. It's all a bunch of money. It's more than you'd ever need. Yeah, it's easy for us to say that when I don't have the option to make $2 million. Okay. Again, I don't want to speak for you. Maybe you're like, I make 2 million, you a-hole. Don't speak. Okay. Well, I'm not speaking for you. I'm just speaking for the 2 million and less club here. Though Bisaccia's decision was for personal reasons, the perception coming out of the combine was that there was a problem and LaFleur might have to deal with that. He had no shortage of interested candidates for Bisaccia's job, so it didn't affect him when hiring a replacement, but it's something that could pop up later. Coaches pay attention to those things. And when they're considering new jobs and people inside the building are unaware of why Bisaccia left, they might wonder if the rumors are true. It's not an enormous problem, but something LaFleur should be aware of if he wants to improve the team's football culture, and he should. As far as the B- grade he received and the C for Stenovich on the survey, LaFleur would be smart to take it seriously and see if it was the result of how the two coached the offense. Again, it's possible there were players disgruntled about playing time, or there were personality conflicts, but the fact LaFleur did nothing to shake up his offensive staff or bring someone in of influence from a different system is concerning. He may have had total confidence in his ability to design game plans and call plays, but the offense wasn't that good last season, and the players know it. See, I'm with Tom on that, and this is where I'll butt heads with Bukowski. It's like, yeah, I know the EPA and the efficiency. I know the big picture counting numbers were great. Week to week, quarter to quarter, drive to drive, it wasn't as efficient and it wasn't as potent as it needed to be to win some of those games. So I'm glad Tom included that at the end. More thoughts on this situation next. I want to do a lot of Brewers talk in hour number 2. So we'll do a reset and we can talk some baseball. But a couple more Packers minutes coming up next as we conclude hour number 1.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show, right back to the Packers talk. I want to sneak a call here and before Zach's update. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant Bell's you son of a gun. 2 days straight. It is the new, now 23-year-old. You betcha. UWL Thomas, TG baby in the house.
You gonna update on our age? Update on your age every time you call?
Oh no.
Okay.
Just today, yesterday, and today. That's it.
Okay. All right. We got about 2 minutes. Thomas, what's up?
2 minutes? Oh, geez, we got to make this fast and not do anything else. Well, first off, Grant Bills, you son of a gun. I got to start off, first off, with giving you a little bit of this. It's a little ode to Greg from Michigan here.
Okay. I feel like an a-hole, Thomas. Nobody knows who that is. He's never called the show. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just can't. I can't. Greg from Michigan he called Evo's show this morning. Call into Evo's show and talk about Greg from Michigan. You gotta stick to the canon of this show if you want to call in, or the topic of this show. It doesn't have to be Tony in Texas lore, but like we're talking Packers, okay? Speaking of Madtown Ryan, I think this text gets at it. It says from an eagle-eye point of view and speculation, which is incredible framing. So this is Madtown Ryan saying, not that I know anything, and I'm just speculating, but he continues, we just rehired a coach that has lost the locker room. I think lost the locker room is a little strong, but I think you're closer to correct than you are closer to being completely wrong. I think you're barking up. You're in the right tree. You're in the right forest. You might not be barking up the right tree yet, but you're barking in a correct grove of trees. What worries me is if we get into this next season and the Packers lose like the first 2 games or something. I think of the Bears 2 years ago with Matt Eberflus as an example. The Bears lost a lot of games that season that they shouldn't have lost. And some of them were Matt Eberflus's fault. Some of them were because of bad coaching, bad timeout usage, sure. But that Thanksgiving game, and I've been pretty consistent on this, I know Caleb was a rookie, but when a team melts down in the 2-minute, and the Packers did multiple times this year, I can't just throw it at the coach. I can look at the quarterback too. Like, you're the one out there pulling the trigger. You're the one out there taking the stops. But Matt Eberflus wore it on Thanksgiving. Or Matt Eberflus wore it when they lost on a Hail Mary in Chicago, even though really it was the defensive faults. What was it, Tyreek Stevenson? I can't remember. Who was like gassing up the crowd and wasn't even facing the line of scrimmage when the play started. So Matt Eberflus was a bad coach. He deserved to get fired. But what happened is they lost so many close games that the players basically lost all faith in their coach. It's like, you can't get us there, man. You can't. We're doing our job in a lot of these games. We're busting our ass. We're executing plays. We're laying our life on the line, our bodies on the line out there, and you're letting us down. And once a team of gladiators, once a football team decides that about their coach, it's kind of done. It's kind of cooked. And that's got to be in the back of some of these players' heads with the 5 straight losses, all the blown leads. And if this next season starts poorly, I'm freaked, man. 2-minute update from Zach Halpern. Let's talk Brewers next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin will honor 4 seniors tomorrow night as they play their final home game of the season against Maryland. Most of them will be guys that have been here for just a year, like Nick Boyd and Andrew Rohde. It's the same for Braden Carrington. He started his career as a big-time recruit at Minnesota. Didn't work out there. He went to Tulsa last year before coming to Madison last summer. He's really hit his groove late, including hitting a school record 9 3-pointers against Washington on Saturday. So what has this 1 year meant to him?
I mean, it means a lot. This is, I'd say, by far my best year of college basketball. I think I've had the most fun, too. I've had a lot of experiences. I've grown a lot as a player and as a person here. And it's just a credit to the people I'm surrounded with, you know, from the coaching staff to teammates to even just the fans. You know, they're giving me an environment that I've been able to thrive in and be my best self.
Wisconsin sitting at 12-5 in Big Ten play, very likely going to be the number 6 seed in the Big Ten tournament next week. NCAA tournament projections have them anywhere between a 6 seed and an 8 seed. Again, it'll be Wisconsin and Maryland tomorrow night. They'll finish the regular season on Saturday at Purdue. Turning to the Bucks, they are off today. They'll look to snap a 3-game losing streak tomorrow when they host Atlanta at Fiserv Forum.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us. At home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, the Brewers and the rest of the majors getting some action in against teams that are going to be taking part in the World Baseball Classic. Milwaukee faced Team Great Britain today, while Bryce Terang was in the starting lineup for Team USA against the Giants. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
The goal here is championship, so, I don't really want to feel like the goal is to just make the playoffs. You feel me? That kind of sounds like a weak goal for us. Like, our goal has always been to win championships and get to Eastern Conference Finals and go deep, make deep runs. So, kind of just feels kind of off.
We were playing great, and we kind of lost our way. And I think it's on both ends. I think offensively we had a great rhythm, and we've done it in spurts in the last 3 games, but we haven't been able to sustain.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
All right, hour number 2, some Bucks audio in the intro. That's what we began with back at 4 o'clock. And I'll take your Bucks thoughts if you have any. 608-321-1670, but some Brewers talk in mind for the second hour. They played Great Britain today in an exhibition game, and I don't think it was televised, and if it was, I couldn't find it, so I was following along a little bit. I don't know what the final score turned out to be. Kyle Harrison has a changeup, though. Look at that. The Brewers acquired a young arm that wasn't really lighting it on fire in another organization. He has taken the mound, and wouldn't you know it, they found another pitch in that guy. And it's pretty good because of course. So I'll try to get you a little bit of baseball breakdown from the game earlier today. I want to get into Bob Nightingale's story from earlier this week that we were going to get to last night, didn't have time. And it's also worth mentioning, and Adam McCalvey was tweeting about this earlier, that we have some Brewers injury updates, some prognostication towards opening day. We learned that Brandon Woodruff, this is Adam McCalvey's tweet, Brandon Woodruff's careful buildup means he might not be regular season ready until shortly after opening day. It seems the same may be the case for Quinn Priester, just a case of caution after last year's wrist discomfort. The reason I bookmarked this, look, I guess I wasn't really paying attention. I don't know if I would have bet Brandon Woodruff to be healthy opening day. I don't know. I haven't been monitoring the medical reports from Maryvale. But what we've talked about since the Caleb Durbin trade, and I think these injury updates today, a continuation of this, the Brewers were really spooked by how last season began because they were completely and totally caught with their pants down. They didn't have enough starting pitching, and they had just signed Quintana. So it's not like last offseason they shipped out a bunch of starting pitching and brought in nothing. I don't think they lost a starting pitcher. They traded Burns the year before, but last year they had just traded Williams. So they hadn't let go of a starter. They had just paid Brandon Woodruff to come back for whatever that's worth. And they still were caught playing Elvin Rodriguez, starting him. I believe it was Elvin Rodriguez opening day. I was there. I can't even remember. I was on the Casamigos patio. It's a great time. The game sucked, but I enjoyed the seats out there. It's in the left field corner. Good spot. Food and drink included. We have a bus trip headed, by the way, if you go to radiostuffstore.com, our lacrosse affiliates. And I think they have a pickup in Cottage Grove. I should know that, but I talk about it on our music station, Z93 in La Crosse. A second bus trip was added because the first one sold out. So you get the bus ride, the game ticket on the Casamigos patio, and then Premier Tailgating throws the tailgate party before the game. Presented by, how about that? Sealand's Carpetland, the presenting sponsor. I got my Sealand's Carpetland sweatshirt on today in Coon Valley. It's a really slick deal. It's a really good way to go enjoy a Brewer game. So if you're over in the La Crosse area, WKTY, and again, I think they do a pickup at Cottage Grove, so they get you on the way if you want to take the bus over from Madison so you don't have to worry about driving and parking. But back to my point. They started Elvin Rodriguez last year on opening day, their home opener. They didn't have Nestor Cortez. They didn't have anybody healthy. And I think the Caleb Durbin trade this offseason was Okay, we can maintain at third base, although Billy Hamilton hit a homer today. I think the Brewers probably have reason to think they upgraded at third because, of course, they did. And we're also going to get a couple more arms in the system. We added Sproat and the other guy whose name escapes me. The arm that they acquired, Angel Zerpa, although I think he's going to be more of a reliever. But I think the Caleb Durbin trade was, we can feel okay about third base still, and we can also add to our starting pitching depth. This is Jack Stern when Matt Arnold spoke after the Durbin trade. I'll come to your phone calls after this. This is a minute and a half or so on Matt Arnold speaking about starting pitching depth. And I think Kyle Harrison, who pitched one of the arms that they got back in return for Caleb Durbin, pitched today. Wouldn't you know it? He has a changeup. Wow, the Brewers had a plan here. Stupid. Here's a Jack Stern question and an answer with Matt Arnold.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for taking the time this morning. I wanted to ask just about, obviously, you guys have a lot of stretched out guys who are in that mix in the rotation depth chart now. When you kind of look at how pitching is these days, where maybe guys aren't going 200, 250 innings anymore or 6 or 7 innings every start, has that changed the math a little bit for putting a depth chart together? Do you guys think about adding more guys now if you don't necessarily always know that one pitcher is going to maybe be able to cover 200 innings or something like that? And how does something like that kind of fit in the context of losing Freddie, like you talked about, who was pitching, 32, 33 starts a year, giving you 200 innings? Do you feel like just the approach to filling innings has become a little bit more of kind of a whole staff type thing than maybe it was a few years ago?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Jack. I think that's exactly right. I mean, it's no longer just the 5-man rotation and, every guy's going to give you 200 innings anymore. It's a combination of your entire staff. And I think that was one of the most appealing parts of this trade, is to be able to consolidate our infield depth, which we felt good about. And certainly good about it in the future as well, is to consolidate that infield depth and turn it into the innings that you're talking about to cover a very long season, because we know we're going to have injuries. You guys saw what we were dealing with at the start of last year.
There you go.
When not everybody's 100%, like that's going to happen again, and
it
know
is.
that, but having, a number of guys here like Harrison and Drohan really do raise the floor for us. And again, when you look at that with the other young guys, feel good about weathering that storm. And again, it's never going to be perfect, and we're going to have to see some innings from guys that we probably didn't expect it, and hopefully they step up as well. But to have the length of these two guys that we're adding is certainly something we feel really good about.
It's friggin' prophecy, man. Why do I ever doubt this, Brewer? And of course, Billy Hamilton hits a home run today. Pat Murphy expects a quantum leap. Why do I ever criticize trades? Why do I ever? I mean, the next time they make a move, I'm just gonna be like, it'll work. Let's talk Packers. That'll be my approach. 608-321-1670. A couple calls here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant. I wanted to share a quick perspective on Franchise Tag Tuesday. So how I looked at it is, well, teams have traditionally used the franchise tag as a short-term solution, and I want to get your question here to you on this.
Yes, Tom.
I see it kind of as functioning more as a negotiating tool rather than a straightforward roster mechanism. It's Thomas, by the way, too. I apologize that I hung up on you, too, and it was 2 minutes was not enough time for me to get this out. In the case of the Packers, though, do you anticipate they may ever be more aggressive at the franchise tag deadline? Because I don't even know if we really did anything, or does their long-term roster philosophy make that?
Well, are they who would they tag? I guess this year, Thomas. Is there anyone? Because it hasn't even been talked about.
Great question. I mean, I don't even know who's up for franchise tagness, so to speak. I don't. Well, we're more so dealing with the free agents this year, right? Because I want to say 22 we have heading to the market here at the start of next football season. So it will be interesting obviously to see who we keep as far as it relates to free agents. But you do bring up a good point. Like there's not really that much the Packers can do as far as the franchise tag Tuesday goes. But I guess to deviate a little bit from that, who do you think as it relates to our free agents do we keep, and who do you think that we kind of deploy and let go? So that's really what I got for you, Grant. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, and everybody. The words of Greg from Michigan, Mr. Positive, go for your dreams, baby.
Thank you, Thomas. So we'll get back to the Brewers here in a sec. So they do have, what I couldn't remember about franchise tagging is I couldn't remember if a player needed to be vested at a certain level or if you could franchise tag someone who's still on a rookie deal. So I guess in theory, they could franchise tag any of the free agents we've talked about. I think Sean Ryan, Rasheed Walker, Quay Walker, and Romeo Dobbs. They could. I don't think the Packers have interest in any of those guys. I think they're ready to place Walker with Jordan Morgan. Quay Walker's kind of interesting, maybe, I guess. But remember, when you franchise tag a guy, you're paying him at the average at the top of their position. So do they have the appetite for 1 year, a big-time expenditure on Quay Walker? Could they franchise tag Kingsley and Enagbare? I suppose they could, but he's not making top-of-the-market money. He doesn't stand to make top-of-the-market money. So, no, I don't think they're going to tag any of these guys. Thomas, there's a reason we haven't talked about them tagging any of these guys is I don't think it makes sense. So I'll answer your question. We get back to the Brewers. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Yeah, Thomas, bring relevant questions, buddy, and be prepared. You had a whole break to think about. I'm going to ask Grant a question. Grant didn't even make a point. Grant just asked a question, and it totally threw him off.
No,
it was a great question.
It was a fine question. We can get Thomas in. That was fine. We can go from the Brewers to the Packers and back. We're capable of walking and
gotta ask relevant questions, like Grant. Given the empty cupboard arguments, what do you think about Skylar Bell scoring at the top of the RAS chart when it comes to receivers?
So Vagabond John, it's funny. We had a Benjamin Robinson on yesterday with Bill, and Bill asked him about mid-round wide receivers. And sometimes when Bill has a guest on, I will listen with one ear. I will work on something else because they're talking. I can accomplish something here. And my ears perked up because I'm watching him say Skylar Bell. And Benjamin Robinson goes, you know a player I really like, and you don't really think about UConn turning out high-level receivers, but Skylar Bell is a really intriguing prospect. I said, oh, God, I'm going to have to cut this and play it like chumming the water for Vagabond John, because you're right. Empty cupboard. This is forever in perpetuity. This is relevant for you, Vagabond John.
Not just that. There's this John Daly Twitter account that I sometimes, get a lot of engagement from or whatever, but they're always saying, well, towards the end, and this is an argument for years. And, I think I was right on the Bisaccia thing. I think I've been right on the Paul Chris stuff. And what people said for years is, well, he just wasn't changing anything. And my direct answer is you have Braylon Allen, Chimray Dike, Skylar Bell, probably Vinny Anthony, 3 offensive linemen, Graham Mertz. They all got drafted. Most athletic receiving room Wisconsin's ever had. That's what he changed. But Grant, real quick on the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
More relevant is Ian Rappaport. Not that guy. Who's the guy that replaced him at ESPN now? Shefty.
Yes.
Shefty. Rappaport's basically dead to us, right? He's done.
He's at NFL Network. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Shefty tweeted out all these, big free agents that are going to be not tagged, right? And so they're going to be open on the market to be able to get. And I think as Packer fans, we got to not play into the shiny object syndrome, right? I saw a couple of running backs, a couple of receivers.
Kenneth
Travis
Walker,
Etienne,
Alec Pierce, Odafe Owe,
yeah.
Etienne Linderbaum Hendrickson, all unrestricted. Yeah.
I saw all of those names, and I thought to myself, man, if we had any sort of competent offensive line and any sort of competent DB room, I would be all in on a couple of those names. I think as Packer fans collectively, when all these flashy names out there in free agency get thrown around, we have to stick to our guns. We know we need, and this is more just me saying this for myself too, but for everybody out there, stick to your guns. We need offensive linemen and we need cornerbacks. That's it. That's all we're in the market for. Move on. Last thing, I need callers' takes on this. If you're calling in the second half of the hour, yeah, go ahead, talk about Brewers. Is vinyl plank flooring legit? I think it's the worst thing that's ever come out. I think this is my thing I'm crusading against this week. When we were touring home, every time I stepped on a vinyl plank floor in a kitchen, I threw up all over the place. I'm going to pay you $15,000 less for your home if you put it in because my ass is going to have to uninstall it. So callers, I'm curious, are we in or are we out on vinyl plank flooring? Grant, I know you're not there yet. You'll have an opinion on it someday. That's all I got.
Probably, Vagabond. I appreciate the call. That was a heck of a back-to-back, starting the hour with Brewers Talk and then going UWL Thomas and Vagabond John. I love the Skylar Bell mention, by the way. I got to go get that audio over one of the next commercial breaks because Benjamin Robinson did mention me yesterday, and I laughed. I texted Bill. I was like, he was Wisconsin, transfer Wisconsin. And Bill's like, I don't care. It's like, well, correct, but on other shows on this network, we'd spend an hour on that because of people like Vagabond John who are still taking up arms to talk about the empty cupboard narratives of 2021 when Paul Chris got fired. Whatever. Okay. What was the vinyl plank flooring? Goose Egg's on the live stream. He works in flooring. He's in Westby. So if he wants to call in and add to this, I don't know anything about vinyl plank flooring. I don't know anything about any flooring. I've never bought a house. So I'm trying to figure out if this is a natural spot to take a break and we can do a hard reset on the other side. I think that's what I want to do. So I'll continue to take your calls. We'll do a hard reset here. We'll come back and continue our Brewers conversation next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will be in 1 minute. Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Day 3 wide receivers. So when I look outside of my top 100, a couple players stand out. One is Connecticut wide receiver Skylar Bell. Connecticut, you don't often think about them as producing, football players more on the basketball side, but he's a guy to watch from them from this year.
Benjamin Robinson grinding the mocks yesterday just to scratch that itch for Vagabond John. Skylar Bell. You don't think of UConn as a football factory for NFL receivers. You wouldn't, but guys go from Wisconsin to UConn and all of a sudden they're getting drafted. I can't believe I'm indulging this. Speaking of indulging, I have a feeling that this next call is going to be related to vinyl plank flooring. I've just been doing this long enough. I have a feeling 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, my man, it's Lee from the Western City. How you doing?
There you go. And Lee, you work in flooring. Do I understand this correctly?
Well, all types of stuff, but yeah, my specialty is flooring. And yeah, it's, they call it luxury vinyl plank. And I mean, really, there's nothing luxurious about it. It's just kind of a selling point, or luxury vinyl tile, whatever. And John's partially right on that. By the way, he nails all of his Badgers takes. I love how he just, wrestles these horses to the ground and just beats them. The Joel Berry, these Badger players that come up in the draft, and he's currently on the right side of history on some of that stuff. But he's also right about the flooring. But the thing is, with a house value, it's his option to pay less for a house. But pretty much the easiest job, any advice for people out there, you want something, real gravy and everything, is you go and you become an assessor or someone who does the valuations for houses, because you pretty much just measure an appraiser. You just measure the livable square footage of a house. You go back like the past most recent 3 sales in a certain area, and that's what they do. I do work for a builder and stuff. It basically doesn't matter if you have luxury vinyl plank, if you have hardwood flooring, tile, carpet. If you live in Lone Rock and you got that dumpy peel and stick tile in the bottom of your trailer, it doesn't matter, because they just go by the livable square footage. But yeah, he's totally right on it. And I will say, if you read the box, it says, "Oh, no floor prep needed." Read the box, because it said if you want the warranty, it has to be within 1/8 of an inch over 6 feet, or no more than 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch out of level over a 10-foot radius, which is no house ever. You're basically asking the entire house to be a pool table. And then so people don't do that. And then when they get their claims and their flooring crumbles apart because it puts too much stress on the locking mechanism and it wears out over time, then you don't get the warranty. And they say, "Oh, well, your floor isn't flat as a pool table." So, but if you are going to do luxury vinyl plank, there's a couple of good brands I'm not going to shill for until they pay me. But you can do a glue down option. It's going to be your best bet, because as I told you, that it's just there's no floor that you can just walk in and lay.
Sure.
So that's why I have to do a lot of floor prep.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
No, appreciate it, Grant. And, thanks for getting me out of the woodwork. Vagabond John and Grant. Looking forward to Bill Michaels and the Open in Viroqua. And I can't wait to see you in Ryan's next show.
I am going. I appreciate that, Lee, over in Westby. Goose eggs on live stream. I'm very excited for the Bill Michaels Open. I am golfing it this year. I believe I'm in Lee's foursome, so I can learn more about flooring. Nobody's floor is perfectly level. An interesting look into, well, maybe not that interesting to some. I like learning. I like learning about all things. And by the way, you do not need to, don't tell Vagabond John. He's spot on. He's on the right side. He does definitely, like Tony in Texas, does not need the ego.
Connecticut wide receiver Skylar Bell.
Yeah, correct. Empty cupboard, by the way, Paul Christ.
Connecticut, you don't often think about them as producing,
right.
Football players more on the basketball side, but
right. You don't hear a lot about UConn turning out wide receivers. I mean, they did what Wisconsin couldn't do, what Luke Fickell couldn't do. Madtown Ryan says, "I like the look of epoxy floors and epoxy countertops just because you can kind of make it your own thing." Rockin' Rick just says, "Sealants." Yeah, I got my Sealants Carpetland sweatshirt. Big flooring night. It's flooring night on the Wisco Sports Show. G-Dub on the live stream's offended. Jim in Cottage Grove. I just today, my personal self, got done doing a whole bathroom in my house with LPV. I don't know I'm assuming that's some type of flooring that pertains to what we're talking about. It was so easy, and if it's installed correctly, it's wonderful for one. You could take it out really easy, put it in really easy. It's waterproof. It's beautiful. I love it. Part of me thinks that, Jim, that Lee would tell you that it's not as waterproof as you think. I remember growing up, of course, the child's bathroom upstairs in my childhood home had some sort of linoleum. It's been replaced since. I don't know what kind of floor. It's not the flooring hour. I'm not supposed to know these things, but I do know that, when we didn't put a towel down and we'd leave water on the floor, it would sink through the floor. And then in the basement, the tiles would get the water spots. And I always be like, "Dad, what's that spot on the floor?" "Oh, it's coming from the kids' bathroom because you guys let water everywhere." My dad was very loving. It's funnier for the sake of the story if I portray him as, flooring guy. Luxury vinyl plank. Yeah, of course. LPV. Thank you. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Well, just so you know, I sent you a text.
Yes, Rockin' Rick.
Oh, I sent you a text before that said that we love our vinyl floor, the stressed wood look. And if John wants to come and barf on it, he can, because it cleans up very easily.
Oh, okay. I do see that text now. 2 years ago, well, I'll read the text while I have you here, Rock and Rick. Why not? 2 years ago, we did the whole main floor, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, living room, dining, and kitchen, distressed wood vinyl. We love it. Vagabond John wants to barf on it. It cleans like a dream. It sounds like we have some elitists. Is Vagabond John an elitist when it comes to his peel and stuff? Why are we talking about this?
Have a good night.
Good night. Yeah, have a good night. Sorry, Rock and Rick. Rock and Rick. Listening in lacrosse. Oh, I have a headache. You know, I hung up on Thomas and lacrosse at the end of the 4 o'clock hour because his call was not directly pertaining to what we were talking about. I've taken more than, and the phone's ringing again. This is going to be another line. It's going to be another flooring call. Just going to take a deep breath. All right, we just need to get to 5:30. I take the 5-minute break. We're going to turn over a new leaf with the audience. We're going to come back and we'll talk Brewers. We'll talk Brewers. Okay. 608-321-1670. Let's go sports show. Who's this?
Yep, Greg from Albuquerque.
Hi,
Real
G-Dub.
quick.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with peel and stick. As a DIY and homeowner, crap's expensive nowadays. I don't want to blame. I know he's in the trades. I get it. Lee, he's in the trades. They need money too. My neighbor, he has a 6x7 really tiny bathroom. He's getting it all redone. It's like a little under $20,000. You know what? Peel and stick. Yes, it's trash on it, whatever you want to do. As a DIYer, do-it-yourselfer, homeowner, the peel and stick is easy. It's fast. It ain't complicated. It doesn't look bad. There's a lot of good products out there. Nothing wrong with peel and stick. Absolutely not.
All right.
Okay. That's just my take. That's just nowadays. It's fast. It's easy. You don't got to pay some guy to come in and charge you an arm and a leg just to do a bathroom or a small living room. It's easy. There's nothing wrong with peel and stick flooring.
So why am I indulging this? Peel and stick is
stick.
It's just the common name for luxury vinyl plank.
No, so peel and stick is literally, it's different. It's literally, you buy it in a box. There's like maybe 12 of them in there, and it's like a glue. There's like a little film on there. You take the film off and you put it down, and it sticks to your floor.
Okay.
It's not bad. I got it in my kitchen and my living room.
Well, Rock and Rick has it in his bathroom and his living room. G-Dub, I appreciate the call. I believe this stuff sounds like the best thing in the world. Jim in Cottage Grove says you better save this segment. Ha 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 for when you go talk show home improvement. Oh, well, next week I'm gonna have a best of. I'm taking a trip next weekend. Sorry, I got a family trip next weekend. So it won't be, Grant's at the combine. Grant's traveling. No, I'm using a vacation day. My company gives me some of those, and I'm free to use them. I will be using them for the entire day. Not, Grant kicked off early so we can drive somewhere for the weekend and post a picture of the interstate. No. A honest to goodness vacation day. So maybe I will, you know what, just to spite you guys, maybe I will replay this segment next Friday when we have a best of. Goose Egg says, not peel and stick. That belongs in trailers. Correct him, Grant. I'm done. Okay? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and I'm going to call Kurt Hogue, and we're going to talk Brewers on the other side. Okay? You guys go talk about the phone's ringing. I'm busying the lines. I'm done. No more. We're going to talk Brewers on the other side with Kurt Hogue, who covers the Brewers. He's a sports journalist for the Journal Sentinel. He's in Maryvale. He's writing Brewers stories as we speak. We're going to talk about that when we come back. And maybe this is my fault because I've entertained it. I will wear that. Fine. But we're going to talk Brewers next. I swear to God.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
All right, welcome back. A little home improvement segment, I guess, because why not? Who cares? It's just Tuesday. I'm just trying to get through. The Brewers played Great Britain today, let down our nation by losing to the country which once colonized us, or was our, I guess they didn't colonize us. You know what I mean. Again, I just got to get to 6 o'clock. Kurt Hogue was there in attendance to see it today. Down in Phoenix, American Family Fields of Phoenix, down in Maryville. We go to him now on the live stream, the Journal Sentinel. He does excellent work. You should read everything that he does.
Grant, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh, now you're better. You cut in. It's like sounded like a caller. Hello, Grant.
I was just complimenting how good and healthy and vibrant you look in the sun, and you're in your element. Yes, handsome.
Thank you. It was Grant. It's good to be back. Pat Murphy called today's performance piss poor in a spring training game, and it just look. I wasn't fully ready to get back in the swing of work, but now I am.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the Brewers' new pitcher all of a sudden has a changeup because of course he does? Their new third baseman is hitting for power and looks better than he did in Boston because of course he does. Where do you want to start?
I just want to start, Grant, with just the sights and the sounds and the smells of the team.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
This is going to be a very interesting team to cover and for fans to watch early in the season. And I probably would have said that a week ago if I was on the show, but really today I was in the clubhouse, man. I was establishing myself as a presence there.
Mm-hmm.
I smelled the grass. I felt the dirt underneath my New Balances. And I also talked to guys. And it's interesting to kind of hear Chris Hook and Pat Murphy and some of the young pitchers too I talked to. You get a sense of anticipation for what these guys are capable of. So much of how far this team can go is ultimately going to come down to what they have in these young guys, whether it's Sproat or Harrison, who pitched today and looked phenomenal, or Miz. They have so many options there, and there's going to be bumps in the road for sure. But I think there's like a sense of what I feel them. I'm saying what I feel like they're projecting is a sense of confidence, of optimism, of excitement in what these young guys are capable of.
Well, this builds on something we talked about recently, and I noticed that Sal Frelick made mention of this in Bob Nightingale's story. Speaking of clubhouse presences, Sal Frelick basically saying we don't feel like an underdog. Like, have expectations changed? Is this a team that feels as though on some level they've arrived and they just expect to be at the top of the division and they expect to be competing for a World Series?
I think so. This kind of gets back to our conversation a little while ago. Where like they're not saying it out loud as much, but I do think it's like just an unspoken expectation to a large degree. How was that story? What was it about? I'm curious. I didn't see it.
It was basically like people say they don't spend enough. And as I'm reading, I'm like, Bob, you said that last year. And you can count them out. I'm like, you are the counter outers. It was mostly the stock story, but it had a Sal Frelick quote that was good.
Okay. So that's why I asked, because every year, and there's like the same two kind of angles written about the Brewers. It's sort of funny to kind of see it happen. And look, I do not envy the job of national writer who has to, we talked about this last year too, has to come in to the Brewers clubhouse in like July or August. And the story is, how are they doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the story, that's kind of the story last year. And then the other story is, it's that one. It's, they're doing less, they're doing more with less. And, they're not spending, but can they get over the hump? That sort of, they're the underdogs, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Kurt Hogue is here. Yeah. The Journal side will continue, though. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I don't really. Just stream of thought, Grant. That's what I do. That's why I come on your show. Yeah.
Well, I'll stream. How did Mizorowski look to your eye? He's established now. Yeah. He's got expectations. He's definitely in a different spot than he was when he first started as a major leaguer last year. So what'd you see from him today?
And I'm glad you mentioned that he's in a different spot, because I can tell when I walked through this building, that you're in a different place for sure. For sure, you're in a different place. And he's in a different place as well out on the mound. He looks a little stronger. I'm curious to see, like, if that translates itself into a little better control.
Okay.
If he can control his body a little better down the mound. Other than that, I mean, it was just, your standard spring outing. He looked okay. There was some moments where he wasn't super crisp, but it's spring, man. This guy was pitching in Game 5 of the NLDS and pitching at Dodger Stadium in the NLCS. So I'm going to start giving him that right. Like if Pat Murphy's going to be like, oh, we're not worried about Jared Koenig throwing 92 and giving up 5 runs, then I'm going to do the same for the guy who was actually their best pitcher in the postseason.
Do we expect him to be the opening day starter?
Maybe.
Seems like Woodruff won't be available. Well, Priester might not be available.
So this is the story of the day. The Brewers are saying, they said this in the release they sent out to some of the reporters, is that they use the words on track for the opening day rotation. So they don't think, like, he's not hurt. There's no injury here. It's just a matter of is the ramp up going to be fast enough? So, like, yeah, he's probably going to be on the opening day roster, but is he going to be the starter? That is unclear. So, and if it's not Priester, I think it would be very funny if they just threw. I told Murph this today. I was like, just use an opener. Just throw an opener. But it's probably Miz. It's probably Miz.
Kurt Hogue is here again with the Journal Sentinel. How big does Bryce Terang look?
I haven't seen him.
I ask. Okay, so I asked that sarcastically because he's bulking up. He talked about that, but also, like, I think when you look at some of the Terang numbers, like, I don't know if we talk about him enough. You know, offensively, he wasn't great early on in his career, and he's not going to hit 40 home runs. But when you look at the profile, the stolen bases, the defense, the home runs, he's saying that he's in rare company or in rare air right now in the league. Maybe sounds a little dramatic, but I feel like maybe we underserve or underrate how good of a player he is.
Well, he's the starting second baseman for the United States World Baseball Classic team. So
that's true. A patriot to boot.
A patriot to boot. That's right. All of them. The lot. Unlike these gentlemen who lost to the Brits.
Yeah, that's about as un-American as it gets.
Yeah, we can't be. Come on, guys. We can't be. Although they've got some guys. This team. I don't know what sort of run they can make. They got Jazz, Harry Ford.
That sounds like the most British name I've ever heard.
I'm not sure who their pitchers are. I don't know who they're playing in the tournament exactly either, but
are guys fired up about the World Baseball Classic? I once upon a time came to spring training the year of the World Baseball Classic, and those guys were jacked. They were watching the MLB Network coverage in the clubhouse. Like, they get into this, or they did.
They did. I have a feeling they will again, especially if the U.S. looks like they should.
Okay.
I feel like that, yeah. It's too bad you're not down here, Grant. I miss having your presence, your aura.
Yeah,
over our discussions.
Because I can be if I were you, I would want lesser ranking people in the scrum as well. That builds your seniority.
That's true. That's true. Also, yes and no. However, I'm territorial.
At what year on the beat do you develop that, by the way? At what year do you?
Yeah, it's part of my year 5. My year 5 development, player development never stops.
Sure.
And I like you as a person, but you in the scrum asking questions on my time, I can live without that.
Okay. I see a serious baseball question related to Bryce on the live stream. Do we think Bryce is maybe priced his way out of Milwaukee, or do you think that's an extension they try to get done?
That's a great question. It's really hard to say.
Or if you don't have anything, don't waste time. If you have nothing, maybe they extend Sal. Like, what would the other guy be who we should look at?
I lean toward the priced himself out, but you don't know exactly. I think the answer is still Miz.
Okay. On
extensions, but that's a really tricky one to figure out because, like, you've seen a little flash of what his value can be, and the Brewers aren't going to pay you on what you can be. Yeah. They know what you can be, and that's what they want to pay you for what I don't know. I jumble my words. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I don't know that I want to rush to extend the young pitcher who has a bunch of team control who throws 103. Like, why do I want to tie that guy up for 60?
Well, sure.
I mean, unless it's the Ashby thing.
Yeah,
you just buy out the ARB.
No, but Bryce is if I'm picking a guy, it's Bryce.
Okay.
Because I think there's still a lot. Maybe not a lot more, but probably maybe a lot more. There's more in there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you were done before I jumped in. Kurt Hogue.
I thought you were nodding off on me because it's not 6 o'clock yet.
Kurt, no, although we're getting close. I am watching the clock. Time for one more. What? This is the classic sports radio question, and I'm sorry to ask it, but it's the way that I want to wrap up. Now that you've arrived in Arizona, and we have a couple weeks left of this thing, what will you be following, and what should Brewers fans at home be keeping their eye on?
Thank you. I have no idea what I'm going to be following.
You know what I like that you don't come in with an agenda.
A little bit. I was slapped in the face by spring training today when I had a notebook, like I sat down in my apartment last night down here in Phoenix, and I was jotting down, okay, here's who I need to talk to. I need to get a story out for tomorrow. These are my options. I can do this, and then I get down there. I did have a great conversation with Andrew Vaughn. Great conversation about his defense. So that is one thing. But then instantly I realized, like, no, there's just things that happen, and then you just have to pivot. You have to pivot. Like Frank Kaminsky in the post. Like Ethan Happ down low. You got to pivot. Nigel Hayes against Villanova on the wing. You got to pivot. Spin baseline. Reverse layup.
I actually think Nolan Winter's kind of been sneaky underrated by fans. I think
Nolan Winter has been awesome, Grant. He's shooting like 75% on twos.
Yeah. I want the threes to come. I always thought the book on him would be the 3-point shooting, the free throws, the skill will always be there. Can he be strong enough? Can he be enough of a man? Well, I think he's been a man. I want to see the NBA skill.
Well, that's because Badger bigs, especially ones from the southern Minneapolis suburbs, the Lakeview, Apple Valley, Eagan area, they have not been as tough guys as I think you'd like. Although I think Steven Crowell deserves respect. Put respect on Steven Crowell's name a little bit. But yeah, no, Nolan Winter's awesome, and Nick Boyd should be celebrated as well. I don't know. You can celebrate him as whatever you want, but he's pretty cool.
Don't hang the sins of Nate Reavers around the neck of our handsome, sweet Nolan Winter. That's not fair.
I'm glad you. Okay. Yep, you knew.
It's really only him. I love how we had our issues with App and our issues with Crowell, but with Nate Reavers, it's just on a different level.
I think at least I projected my Nate Reavers frustration onto Crowell until last year. Where I just started realizing that he does important things for the team.
Good passer. What a passer.
Good passer. Yeah.
Great passer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I trust him to shoot threes more than I trust Nolan Winter right now. Again, love him, mean it, but
I don't know about that much, but I'll disagree. I will disagree with you on that point, but Steven Crowell deserves more respect than he got. I would love to have Max Klesman on this team, not the 29% shooting one though.
Lastly, did you hear the rumors that Jurickson Profar was just trying to get Pedro Severino's wife pregnant?
I have no comment on that.
Okay.
On the matter.
All right. Well, if you hear anything, let us know. Kurt Hogue, I'm glad you're down in Arizona. We look forward to following your coverage. Thank you for jumping on.
Of course, Grant. I'll talk to you soon.
Kurt Hogue, read his work. Subscribe to the Journal Sentinel. Those reports, by the way, were from the Onabom Institute. Jurickson Profar got slapped with a PED suspension again for 162 games. And Onabom was just positing or suggesting or just saying, don't run to conclusions. He may have just been trying to get Pedro Severino's wife pregnant. There were a lot of inside jokes in that segment, mostly related to the Brewers internet. So thank you for bearing with us. We'll get back to vinyl plank flooring next. Good God, don't worry. Show presented tonight. They're getting their money's worth too. In on the River in Trempolo. I was in Trempolo last week. Yeah, I was at Cat Daddy's last weekend. Hell yeah, I couldn't keep my calendar straight. Had a great time, and you can have a great time in Trempolo or anywhere on the West Coast. You can go all over the hills and the bluffs. You can hit Perot State Park. In the summer, obviously bring the boat, take it out on the river. The scenic bluffs right across the way, right across the tracks in the river. Sullivan Supper Club, the Trempolo Hotel. Cat Daddy's if you want to get really nuts. And El Morro Vineyard right around the way. There's so much to do. Great golf in the area as well. And it's like a half hour down to La Crosse. If you want to go spend a couple hours in La Crosse shopping, getting dinner, kicking around, you could do that as well. It's a great home base. In on the River, WI.com, or give them a call, 608-534-7784.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
That, you know, if you live in Lone Rock and you got that dumpy peel and stick tile in the bottom of your trailer, you know, it doesn't matter because they just go by the livable square footage. But yeah, he's totally right on it, you know. And I will say, if you read the box, it says, oh, no floor prep needed. Read the box, because it said if you want the warranty, it has to be within 1/8 of an inch over 6 feet, or no more than 3/16 to a quarter of an inch out of level over a 10-foot radius, which is no house ever. You're basically asking the entire house to be a pool table, and then so people don't do that, and then when they get their claims and their flooring crumbles apart because it puts too much stress on the locking mechanism and it wears out over time, then you don't get the warranty, and they say, oh, well, your floor isn't flat as a pool table. So, but if you are going to do luxury vinyl plank, there's a couple of good brands I'm not going to chill for until they pay me, but you can do a glue down option. It's going to be your best bet because as I told you, that it's just there's no floor that you can just walk in and lay.
Appreciate that breakdown. I don't know what we would have done tonight without that. And I love Lee in Westby. Goose eggs on the live stream. Shout out Sealand's Carpetland. Screw Vagabond John. Dude ran onto the show tonight with a suicide vest. I want people's take on vinyl plank flooring. A quote from Pat Murphy, by the way. I love how Kurt Hogue came onto the show. It's great to be back. Pat Murphy called today's spring training exhibition piss poor. Here's the full comment from Pat Murphy. If today was a real baseball game, you'd have to say this performance was piss poor. That's the best adjective I can use for it if this was a real game. If this was a type of effort, the type of execution, you'd have to say piss poor on both ends, offensively and defensively. But we'll get that squared away and we'll get back to playing our type of baseball. It's hard to mimic our type of baseball here, but you have to make an effort to do that. Pat Murphy was, however, I'm reading from Adam McCalvey, impressed by Great Britain. They played great. They made contact and they played as a team. You can see they're trying to build something. All the credit in the world goes to that group. How they're getting themselves ready to play, I thought that was really cool. Great. We've lost Pat Murphy. London fog over here. All right, a couple of texts. 608-321-1670. Oh, good. Anonymous Pete. Bathrooms are fine for LVP. Would draw the line at the living room, though. Luxury vinyl plank. Jared and DeForest. Flooring. You want B to know what's flooring. How many Vinny Capras the Brewers find each year? What kind of guys overperforming in spring training that don't really have a place on the Brewers roster? Akil Baddoo comes to mind. By the way, he had actually an okay game today. I saw some highlights. Akil Baddoo. For those of you who are harping on the fact the Brewers didn't sign anyone this offseason, remember, of course, they signed Akil Baddoo. And don't you forget it. So we can pick up the Brewers coverage tomorrow. We were going to get to the Bob Nightingale story. We didn't. I love Bob, mean it, but it was more the, how do the Brewers keep doing it? Every offseason article about the Brewers from a national writer is one of two things. It's either, can they keep doing it, or how do they keep doing it? Last offseason was, can they keep doing it? This offseason is, how do they keep doing it? And if they do it again this year, next offseason, we will revert to the, can they keep doing it? Because you can't ask more than 1 year in a row, but you can't go more than 1 year without asking. Again, folks, I'm not a journalism expert here, but I can spell these things out for you. It's the Bob Nightingale way, which is why Kurt, I love how Kurt asked, like, what did Bob Nightingale write about? I'm like, well, it was kind of the token, how do they keep doing it piece? And if they do it again this year, the next offseason will be the, can they keep doing it? Because let me reiterate, you can't ask, can they keep doing it more than 1 year in a row? But you can't go more than 1 year without asking whether they can keep doing it. So there you go. You've broken it all down. I'm sorry I couldn't contribute more on the vinyl playing floor. Oh, Coyote Mike, here we go. We put it in our family room. Been great with the dogs. Folks, you know, I really like this job. Sometimes I wonder, what am I doing? Like I could have planned 2 hours of detailed sports talk, which, by the way, I feel like I planned some pretty good sports talk tonight. Vagabond John calls in and talks about vinyl plank flooring, and it's just the rest of the show.
Connecticut wide receiver Skylar Bell.
And that too. Connecticut wide receiver. You don't really know Connecticut is a place that develops wide receivers. Then again, Wisconsin occasionally used to do that.
Connecticut, you don't often think about them as producing,
right.
Football players more on the basketball side, but
correct. That was Benjamin Robinson grinding the mocks yesterday. A mid-round wide receivers. Skylar Bell. Great. Excellent. Meanwhile, I see Evan Flood posting Twitter clips today of who's the cat they got from friggin' Oklahoma State? Oh, yeah. Shamar Rigby. Great. I'm sure he'll be all over
Connecticut wide receiver Skylar Bell.
Connecticut. And don't forget, was it Louisville running back Isaac Arendo? I believe. Now, I guess they've put out some good football players. Lamar Jackson being one. Jair Alexander being another, but not typically a powerhouse. Louisville that you think of as putting out a lot of high-end wide receivers.
Connecticut, you don't often think about them as producing,
right.
Football players more on the basketball side. But
I love Bill.
Right.
We'll pick this up tomorrow. Guys, roll this vinyl plank flooring talk over to Ebo's show in the morning. He needs a little bit of this on Over the Line. So this has been a good episode of the Wisco Sports Show / This Old House. Thank you for listening.